Moscow Metro Explore the Underground Art. Along with the journey through the Golden Ring of Russia, every travel guide includes a trip to another interesting ring. The ring of Moscow metro stations that look like underground palaces. Many of them are distinguished by the grandeur of the decor, with vestibules and underground halls decorated with statues, reliefs, paintings, mosaics, stained glass, and even paintings of some of the country's leading artists whose works are presented in various museums of Russia. The Moscow subway is the most functional and the biggest attraction of the city at the same time. It was opened in 1935 with one 11-kilometer line and 13 stations, and was the first underground railway system in the Soviet Union. Built during Stalin's time, one of the world's deepest metro has gone through many changes and improvements, and now it is justly called one of the most attractive and must-see places. It is also recognized as the most beautiful metro in the world. 44 of the nearly 200 stations are listed as cultural heritage sites. Indeed, it serves as a museum of Russian history. Here below we have collected for you the best metro stations of Moscow. Just look for yourself at what amazing art is presented in underground area, and don't hesitate to book your Moscow metro tour. Taganskaya Metro Street. Taganskaya, Russian, is a station on the Koltsevaya line of the Moscow Metro. It opened on January 1, 1950 with the first segment of the fourth stage of the system. The station is named after the Taganka Square, which is a major junction of the Sadovoi Koltso. Designed by architects K. Rizkov and A. Medvedev, this pylon station was built with the post-war flamboyance in mind. The overall design is based on the traditional Russian motifs in decorations. The central feature of the station are 48 Mayalika panels located on each face of the pylon. Works of Y. Blanova, P. Kozin, A. Sotnikov, A. Berzitskaya and Z. Sokolova. These contain, apart from floral elements, profile bas-reliefs of various World War II Red Army and Navy servicemen, each dedicated to a group such as pilots, tank crews, sailors, etc. The color gamma is balanced in such a way that the panels facing the central hall are on a blue Majolica background, whilst the platform hall panels are monochromatic. Lighting comes from a set of 12 gilded chandeliers in the central hall with the same blue Majolica center. The remaining decoration of the station include a cream-colored ceramic tile on the walls, powder-colored marble on the lower pylons, and also on the walls, and a checkerboard floor layout of black and gray granite. The end of the central hall once had a large sculptural group Stalin and Youth. However, this was replaced in 1961 by a new artwork of the same authors, P. Baladin and Y. Blanova, depicting Vladimir Lenin, coats of arms of the Soviet republics and images of hero cities Leningrad, Stalingrad, Sevastopol and Odessa. This was also taken down in late 1966 to make way for a transfer to the newly opened Taganskaya of the Zhdanovskaya line. Further transfer was opened in 1979 by adding a stairwell into the middle of the central hall for the new station Marksistskaya of the Kalininskaya line. Novoslobodskaya Metro Street. Novoslobodskaya, Russian, is a Moscow metro station in the Tverskoy district of the Central Administrative Okrug, Moscow. It is on the Koltsevaya line, between Belaruskaya and Prospect Mira stations. Novoslobodskaya was opened on January 30, 1952. From November 21, 2020 to March 4, 2022, the entrance of the station is closed for reconstruction. Alexei Dushkin, the station's architect, has long wished to utilize stained glass in decoration of a metro station, and the first drawings date to pre-World War II times. In 1948, with the aid of a young architect Alexander Strelkov, Dushkin came across the renowned artist Pavel Korin, who agreed to compose the artworks for the panels. The rest of the station was designed around the glass panels. Dushkin, taking the standard pylon layout, designed the overall impression to resemble that of underground crypt. It is best known for its 32 stained glass panels, which are the work of Latvian artists E. Valenden, E. Krests, and M. Riskin. Each panel, surrounded by an elaborate brass border, is set into one of the station's pylons and illuminated from within. Both the pylons and the pointed arches between them are faced with pinkish Ural marble and edged with brass molding. At the end of the platform is a mosaic by Pavel Korin entitled Peace Throughout the World. The stained glass panels, the mosaic, the brass trim, and the elegant conical chandeliers were all carefully cleaned and restored in 2003. Elektrozavodskaya Metro Street. Elektrozavodskaya, Russian, is a Moscow metro station on the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line. It is one of the most spectacular and better-known stations of the system. Built as part of the third stage of the Moscow Metro, and opened on May 15, 1944 during World War II, the station is one of the iconic symbols of the system, famous for its architectural decoration, which is work of architects Vladimir Shturko, who died whilst working on the station's project in 1939, and Vladimir Jelfrake, along with participation of his student Igor Razin. Named after the electric light bulb factory nearby, the preliminary layout included Shturko's idea of making the ceiling covered with 6 rows of circular incandescent inset lamps, of which there were 318 in total. However, the outbreak of World War II halted all works until 1943, when construction resumed. Jelfrake and Razin finished the design by adding an addition theme to the station, the struggle of the home front during the war, which is highlighted by the 12 marble bas-reliefs on the pylons, done by Georgy Motovilov. The rest of the station's interior features most of the 1930s plans, including powder balata marble on the rectangular pylons. The outside faces have sconces and decorative gilded grills depicting the hammer and sickle, red Salieti marble on the station walls, a dark olive Davila marble on the socle, and a chessboard layout on the main platform floor of granite and labradorite. The station's hexagonal-shaped vestibule features a domed structure on a low drum, on the corner niches of which are 6 medallions with bas-reliefs of main pioneers in electricity and electrical engineering: William Gilbert, Benjamin Franklin, Mikhail Lomonosov, Michael Faraday, Pavel Yablachkov, and Alexander Popov, along with their pioneering apparatus. The interior of the vestibule is further punctuated by the same bright red Salieti marble. Outside the vestibule in the archway, there is a sculpture to the metro builders by Matvey Maineiser. The station's legacy was that it serves as a bridge between the pre-war Art Deco-influenced Stalinist architecture as seen on the second stage stations, and their post-war counterparts on the Koltsevaya line. Both Jelfrake and Razin were awarded the Stalin Prize in 1946 for their work. Arbatskaya Metro Street. Arbatskaya, Russian, is a station on the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line of the Moscow Metro. Along with Smolenskaya and Kievskaya, it was built in 1953 to replace an older, parallel section of track which has since become part of the Filiovskaya line. The old station had been damaged in a German bomb attack in 1941, so its replacement was much deeper and included larger stations that could double as shelters, especially in the event of nuclear attack. Although it was initially supposed to be closed permanently, the old section reopened 5 years later, creating the somewhat confusing situation of having 2 pairs of completely separate stations with the same names, Arbatskaya and Smolenskaya. Arbatskaya was designed by Leonid Polyakov, Valentin Pelovin, and Yuri Zenkovich. Since it was meant to serve as a bomb shelter as well as a metro station, Arbatskaya is both large. The 250-m platform is the second longest in Moscow, and deep, 41 m underground. The main tunnel is elliptical in cross-section, an unusual departure from the standard circular design. The station features low, square pylons faced with red marble, and a high vaulted ceiling elaborately decorated with ornamental brackets, floral reliefs, and chandeliers. Kievskaya Metro Street. Kievskaya, Russian, is a Moscow metro station in the Dorogomolovo district, Western Administrative Okrug, Moscow. It is on the Koltsevaya line, between Park Kultury and Krasnopresnenskaya stations. It is named after the nearby Kievsky rail terminal. The design for the station was chosen in an open competition held in Ukraine. The entry submitted by the team of E. I. Katanin, V. K. Skugarev, and G. E. Golubov placed first among 73 others, and it became the final design. Kievskaya features low, square pylons faced with white marble and surmounted by large mosaics by A.V. Mizin celebrating Russo-Ukrainian unity. Both the mosaics and the arches between the pylons are edged with elaborate gold-colored trim. At the end of the platform is a portrait of Vladimir Lenin. The entrance to the station, which is shared with both of the other two Kievskaya stations, is built into the Kiev railway station. With the completion of the segment of track between Belaruskaya and Park Kultury in 1954, the Koltsevaya line became fully operational with trains running continuously around the loop for the first time. One of the station's entrances is topped by a reproduction of an Art Nouveau Paris metro entrance by Hector Guimard, given by the Régie Autonome de Transports Parisiens in 2006 in exchange for an artwork by Russian artist Ivan Lubennikov installed at Madeleine Station in Paris. Mayakovskaya Metro Street. Mayakovskaya, Russian, is a Moscow metro station on the Zamysk-Voretsky line, in the Tverskoy district of central Moscow. The name as well as the design is a reference to futurism and its prominent Russian exponent Vladimir Mayakovsky. Considered to be one of the most beautiful in the system, it is a fine example of pre-World War II Stalinist architecture, and one of the most famous metro stations in the world. It is best known for its 34 ceiling mosaics depicting 24 hours in the land of the Soviets. During World War II, it was used as a command post for Moscow's anti-aircraft regiment. Alexei Dushkin's Art Deco architecture was based on a Soviet future as envisioned by the poet Mayakovsky. The station features streamlined columns faced with stainless steel and pink rhodonite, white euphylite and gray diorite marble walls, a flooring pattern of white and pink marble, and 35 niches, one for each vault. Surrounded by filament lights, there are a total of 34 ceiling mosaics by Alexander Deinica with the theme, 24-Hour Soviet Sky. In 2005, a new second north exit was built, along with a new vestibule. Passengers leaving the station first descend on a short escalator ride into an underground vestibule, and then ascend the long way to the surface. The new exit also allows access to the 35th mosaic, which was previously hidden behind the service section. Other mosaic works were designed from scratch, accompanied by ample use of marble and stainless steel sculpturing. The bust of the poet Vladimir Mayakovsky was moved to the new surface vestibule, whose ceiling was also decorated with a mosaic composition from Mayakovsky's poem, Moscow Sky. Komsomolskaya Metro Street. Komsomolskaya, Russian, is a Moscow metro station in the Krasnoselsky district, Central Administrative Okrug, Moscow. It is on the Koltsevaya line, between Prospect Mira and Korskaya stations. The station is located under the busiest Moscow transport hub, Komsomolskaya Square, which serves Leningradsky, Yaroslavsky, and Kazansky railway terminals. Because of that, the station is one of the busiest in the whole system. It opened on January 30, 1952, as a part of the second stage of the line. Stations on the first southern segment of the Koltsevaya line were dedicated to the victory over Nazi Germany, while those on the northern segment, Belaruskaya Koltsevaya to Komsomolskaya, were dedicated to the theme of post-war labor. Komsomolskaya was designed by Alexei Shusov as an illustration of a historical speech given by Joseph Stalin November 7, 1941. In the speech, Stalin evoked the memories of Alexander Nevsky, Dmitry Donskoy, and other military leaders of the past, and all these historical figures eventually appeared on the mosaics of Komsomolskaya. The early roots of the station's design can be traced to a 1944 draft by Shusov implemented in pure Petrine Baroque, a local adaptation of the 17th-century Dutch Golden Age. However, after the end of World War II, the drafts of 1944 were discarded, and the stations of the Koltsevaya line were completed in the mainstream late Stalinist style of the period. Shusov, who died in 1949, retained his Baroque nonce order. Komsomolskaya remained Shusov's first and only metro station design. The station was initially planned as a traditional deep pylon type. Later, Shusov replaced the heavy concrete pylons with narrow octagonal steel columns, riveted with marble tiles, creating the larger open space. Park Pobedy Metro Street. Park Pobedy, Russian, lit. Victory Park, is a station of the Moscow Metro in the city's Dorogomilovo district. It is on two lines, the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line and the Kalininsko-Saltsevskaya line. At 84 meters, 276 feet, underground, according to the official figures, it is the deepest metro station in Moscow, and one of the deepest in the world, after Kiev Metro's Arsenalna, Chongqing Rail Transit's Hongtady Station, and St. Petersburg Metro's Admiraltayskaya. This is the only Moscow metro station where all passengers board and alight trains in different locations. A further complication was that only the southern, or inbound, platform had an entrance vestibule, so passengers arriving at the northern, or outbound, platform had to change platforms to leave the station. This, however, changed in March 2017, when the southern platform was connected directly to the entrance by a new escalator tunnel. The main reason for this was the opening of new section of Kalininsko-Saltsevskaya line, which now terminates at Remenki instead of Park Pobedy. At 84 meters, 276 feet, underground, Park Pobedy is the deepest station in Moscow, and the fourth deepest in the world by mean depth, after Kiev Metro's Arsenalna, Chongqing Rail Transit's Hongtady Station and St. Petersburg Metro's Admiraltayskaya, and is the deepest station by maximum depth, 97 meters, 318 feet. It also contains the longest escalators in Europe. Each one is 126 meters, 413 feet, long, and has 740 steps. The escalator ride to the surface takes approximately 3 minutes. The two platforms, the work of architects Natalia Shurigina and Nikolai Shumakov, are of identical design but have opposite color schemes. The pylons of the outbound platform are faced with red marble on the transverse faces, and pale gray marble on the longitudinal faces. The inbound platform is the exact reverse. The station is adorned with two large mosaics by Zurab Tsereteli depicting the 1812 French invasion of Russia, at the end of the inbound platform, and World War II, on the outbound platform. The station has a unique structural design. Instead of traditional cast iron tunnel lining, Park Pobedy lining included steel blocks filled with concrete. It significantly reduced amount of structural metal and consequentially overall cost of construction.